All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Sorry, we are running a little bit behind, having some technical difficulties this morning. Is the flavor of December, apparently. But welcome. I am so excited to have you joining me today. It is December 1st, which I cannot believe that we are already there, but we are, and I'm really excited about it. I hope you had a wonderful break with your family and friends, and hopefully a little bit of studying, maybe not much. But today we're going to be diving in to the realm of GTPAL. Now, before we get started, let me introduce myself in case we have never met before. My name is Dr. Jennifer Bonner. I am a certified nurse midwife. I have over 16 years of nursing experience, and I absolutely love what I do. So I started out as a ICU nurse, and then I jumped into endoscopy, did a little bit in labor and delivery, and that's where I found my love, my passion. So I went back to school, became I went to school for family practice, and then I realized I really love the women's health, so I went back, got my master's and doctorate in midwifery. So this is what I love. This is my passion. I love breaking down the GTPAL. Nagel's rule, it's my jam. So if that's not you, hang tight. We're going to work through it together. So the first thing I want to let you know is that we have students joining us from all over the world in various different platforms. So if you have a question for me, please go ahead and put that in the Q&A if you're joining us on Zoom. If you are on another platform like Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, please go ahead and put those in the comments. I'm going to be checking those throughout. If for some reason I don't get to your question, please go ahead and email us at nursing@archerpulse.com. We're happy to answer those questions for you. So a little bit of housekeeping there. So why don't you let me know, where are you joining me from? I am joining you from really, really blustery cold South Dakota. It is absolutely beautiful here, but it is really, really cold. So where are you joining me from? Let me know in the webinar chat or your chat box. Okay, Canada, Oklahoma, Trinidad, Canada, Philippines, welcome. Some of these things over here so I can see them a little bit better. Kenya, Georgia, Virginia, Nepal. All right, very good. California, welcome. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in because our time together actually is going to go pretty fast. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let me know, how do you feel about your ability to break down GTPAL? How do you feel about that ability to break down GTPAL? Feeling about a 4, 0 to 5. Feeling kind of in the middle, feeling a little good, feeling okay. All right. So wherever you fall on that continuum, I'm hoping that by the time we're done today, you're going to feel more confident in your ability to break these down because I know it can be a little bit complicated. And today I've got some complicated scenarios for you. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to break these down together. So let's go ahead and talk about what GTPAL is. So GTPAL is really the ability for us to communicate with our partners, right? It's our ability to communicate with other medical professionals about someone's obstetrical history, right? So we're going to start right here in the top with our G. G stands for gravidity, and this is the total number of pregnancies that someone has had. Now remember, on your NCLEX exam, they like to be a little tricky. So they're gonna say things like, "Oh, she's in for her prenatal visit." So it does count the current pregnancy. And this is where twins only count one. It's only one here. Now, term is T for term, right? So term is any pregnancy delivered during the term period. So anywhere from 37 weeks and beyond. We know after 40 weeks is considered post-term, but that is counted in our term number here. And again, twins only count as one. P is for preterm. This is any delivery that occurred in that preterm area. So from 20 weeks to 36 weeks and 6 days. So on the dot at midnight, when that Woman becomes 20 weeks gestation, she's now in that preterm period. So anyway, from 20 weeks to 36 weeks and 6 days. And then A stands for abortion. So let's spend a little bit of time here because this one gets a little bit tricky. Now, when we think abortion, it comes with a lot of different thoughts, right? Abortion in this case, I want you to think is any pregnancy that is lost or ended before 20 weeks. So from conception to 19 weeks and 6 days. This can be spontaneous. This can be a medicated abortion. This can be a termination. Any of those are going to count in our A there. And then we have our L for living. Now, this is a fluid number. It can change from year to year. So when I was working in the clinic, I had a woman who came in. She was, let's say she was a G3. The following year, she came in and she was a G2. So what do you think happened in between year one and year two? Let me know in the webinar chat. Let me know in the webinar chat. What do you think happened there? So year one, she was G3. Year two, she's a G2. Yeah, she had a death in the family. One of her kiddos passed away. And so this could be just the opposite. In one year, you could be a G3. The next year, you could be G4, where they had another baby and they come in. So that is the general terminology. And so if we understand what each letter is talking about, then we can appropriately assign the correct information. So let's go ahead and check out our first scenario. So we have a 30-year-old had one full-term vaginal birth 5 years ago. 1 year later, she had a spontaneous miscarriage at 10 weeks, and she's now in her first trimester of a new pregnancy. What do you think her GTPAL is? What do you think her GTPAL is? Gonna give you a few seconds just to kind of get those in there. I want you to feel empowered to go ahead and just put your guesses out there. This is a learning opportunity. So even if you don't get it right on the first go, I'm hoping that this will be a great opportunity for us to learn together. Seeing some great answers. I'm seeing, oh, let's see. Actually, I think all the answers I've seen so far. Okay, so let's go ahead and work through this one. So the first thing, let's go ahead and get my little text box out here. So the first thing I want to know is how many pregnancies has she had? So what does she have? She has had one full-term vaginal birth. 1 year later, she had a spontaneous miscarriage, and she's now in her first term of a new pregnancy. So she's a G3. Now, what does P stand for? P, oops, sorry, T. So T is term. Okay, so how many term has she had? She had the full term vaginal birth, and that's it. So she's a T1. What about P? P stands for preterm. So how many pregnancies ended between 20 weeks and 36 weeks and 6 days? 0. We have no preterm births there. What about abortions? How many pregnancies ended before 20 weeks? Well, she had this 10 weeker. So that would be A1. And then living. How many does she have currently living? One. You got it. So if you said G3, T1, P0, A1, L1, or you could say 31011, you are absolutely correct. Does that make sense how we broke that down? So I am one, remember, when you go to take your NCLEX, you're going to get that whiteboard and you're going to have the opportunity to just write away. These are really good ways to do that. Something else that you could do is you could write GTPAL and you could make tallies as you're going through the scenario. Sometimes that's helpful too. Very good. All right, well, let's go ahead and look at the next one. This one's a little more complicated. So Maria is a 35-year-old who arrives for her first prenatal visit. Her first pregnancy ended with the birth of a healthy baby boy at 39 weeks. Her second pregnancy was more complicated. She went into spontaneous labor at 32 weeks and delivered a baby girl who required intensive NICU care. Unfortunately, despite that aggressive treatment, that baby passed away 2 days after birth. The nurse continues gathering information, and Maria recalls another pregnancy, a miscarriage at about 8 weeks, which occurred naturally without the need for surgical intervention. And she's now pregnant again and is anxious to ensure everything is monitored closely. So let's go ahead and check this one out together. So go ahead, give me your guesses for the GTPAL. Some great guesses coming in. Wonderful job. You guys are getting it. This one's tricky. All right. Well, let's go ahead and check this one out, shall we? Excuse me. All right. So, how many G's does she have? So, she's in her first prenatal visit. So, she's a G1 so far. First pregnancy ended with the birth of a healthy baby boy. Second pregnancy, more complicated. Baby girl required NICU care. And then she had a miscarriage at 8 weeks. So she is a G4. Now, how many term does she have? Well, her current pregnancy doesn't count. Her first pregnancy was at 39 weeks. That was the delivery. She had a spontaneous labor at 32 weeks and then an 8 weeks. So she is a T1. What about preterm? How many were preterm? Well, this 32 weeker is preterm. Okay, so she'd be a P1. Abortion, how many were lost prior to 20 weeks? She had the 8 week spontaneous abortion. Okay, and then living. How many living children does she have? One. Because her 32 weeker did not make it, passed away. Okay. So if you said 41111, you are absolutely correct. Now, I want to take a moment and tell you what's going on. Let's check out the week at Archer Review. So we're going to go ahead and check out, whoops, let me get this pulled up here for you. So when we go to the Archer Review website, we are in the nursing area and we're going to go ahead and scroll on down. Now, whoops, let me get rid of that. So when we scroll down, you can see all about our SurePass. That's our #1 recommended study plan. It includes on-demand videos. It includes the QBank with over 3,000 NCLEX style questions, NGN questions, unfolding case studies, all the things, and also gives you access to our 3-day live review, which will be occurring this week, this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So excited, all that high yield information. And then down here, you can see our webinar series. So today you're here for the GTPAL made easy. We have prioritization and delegation for new grads with Tiffany. That's tomorrow. We have next week, we'll have pharmacology guess the medication. But what if I need some private tutoring or maybe I need some small group tutoring? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head on over to tutors. I'm going to click on NCLEX and I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. So this will give you all of our availability for the month. So today we have small group tutoring. Oops. We have prioritization. So this is going to be, this is in my time zone, so I'm in mountain time, but prioritization with Carly from 10 to 10:59. Tomorrow, let's see what we have going on. We have a private tutoring time slot that's available if that's something you're looking for. We have how to answer NCLEX style questions tomorrow with Shelly. That's going to be a great opportunity to learn. Let's see. And that looks like our small groups for the week. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have our 3-day live review. So I hope if you are struggling with any of those areas, you will check those out. But that's our week at Archer Review. So let's go ahead. Let's jump back into our next scenario. So we have Keisha, who's a 29-year-old teacher. She comes into the clinic to confirm her new pregnancy. Her first pregnancy resulted in a spontaneous preterm birth at 34 weeks. Her son spent a short time in the NICU, but's now a healthy 4-year-old. A few years later, she became pregnant again and carried twin girls to 38 weeks, delivering them without complications. Both are energetic toddlers. Whew, I can only imagine. Keisha then mentions that she also experienced a miscarriage last year at around 12 weeks, which was a difficult emotional experience for her. And now she's sitting in the exam room, cautiously optimistic about this new pregnancy. So let me know in the webinar chat, what do you think her GTPAL is? What do you think her GTPAL is? Hey, I'm seeing some great answers here. Wonderful job. Let's go ahead and see how we did here. So let's go ahead and get out my little writing tool here. We'll put it down here. So how many pregnancies? Well, she's here to confirm her pregnancy. So she's currently pregnant. First pregnancy was a spontaneous birth. A few years later, she was pregnant again, carried twin girls, and she had a miscarriage last year at around 12 weeks. So that is a G4. All right. What about her P? T. I don't know why I wanted to skip the P. So GT, how many word term? So let's see. First pregnancy, not it wasn't beyond 37 weeks. Let's see. She carried twin girls to 38 weeks, so that would be a T1. Preterm. How many were preterm? We have a 34 weeker, 34 weeker. Okay, so that would be whoops, P1. Abortions. How many count in the abortion column? So she had the 12 week and living. How many does she have living? So spontaneous preterm birth. So that's one. And then she had twin girls. So that is L3. So 41113. If you got that correct, you are getting it. Nice job. I know that one's a little complicated. All right, I think we have time for one more. So let's go ahead and check out this one. Alyssa is a 37-year-old who presents for prenatal care after a positive home pregnancy test. She explains her first pregnancy ended with a stillbirth at 40 weeks, devastating experience that she and her partner struggled to process for years. Her second pregnancy ended much earlier at about 7 weeks. After she began spotting and cramping, her provider confirmed it was a spontaneous miscarriage. A year later, she had an unintended pregnancy and chose an elective abortion at 10 weeks. Today, it was confirmed Alyssa is carrying twins. All right, here we go. Another GTPAL. What do you think? Let's go ahead and dive into this one. So we have G. How many pregnancies? Well, she's here for prenatal care. She had a first pregnancy that ended in a stillbirth. Second pregnancy ended much earlier at 7 weeks. And a year later, she had an unintended pregnancy, which ended in elective abortion. So she is a G4. What about T? How many word term? This one's a little bit tricky here. So she had a stillbirth at 40 weeks. So that baby was born at 40 weeks, which is considered term. Even though the baby did not survive, that is considered term. She had a 7 week delivery and a 10-week delivery. So she is a T1. What about P? How many were preterm? 0. We don't have any preterm here. How about A? How many were considered abortion? So we have, she had the 7 week miscarriage and the 10-week miscarriage. So she is an A2. A2. And then L. So she had the stillbirth at 40 weeks. So that baby is not living. Second pregnancy was a miscarriage. And then she had an elective abortion at 10 weeks. So she is an A0. Now, Jennifer, how come, or an L0, I apologize. How come it's not an L2? Well, because those babies, even though she's carrying twins, they're not born yet. So they do not count in the L's. So wonderful job. You showed up and showed out. I was incredibly impressed by your ability to work through these. But I'm hoping, oh, someone said, isn't it A3? Well, let's go ahead and look at this. So her first pregnancy was a stillbirth. Her second pregnancy ended at 7 weeks. So the 7 weeks is an abortion. And then the 10-weeker wouldn't be an abortion because it is pregnancies that ended. So try not to think just babies that are not coming home. I want you to think time period. So abortion is anywhere before 20 weeks. Okay. Nice job. Wonderful work today. I'm incredibly impressed. I hope to see you back at our next week's free webinar, Next Gen Nurses free webinar series. And please don't forget, if you have questions, if we can help in any way, go ahead, reach out to us at nursing@archerpulse.com, and we hope to see you next time. Happy studying, everyone. Take care.